Have you ever felt so exhausted and drained that you're left questioning if you're burning out? Hi, I'm Flic Taylor, and my passion for burnout and self-care came about when I became a mental health writer who'd lost her mental health to extreme burnout. I know, the irony is not lost on me. Join me as I host Everyday Burnout Conversations, the honest podcast that shares the stories of others from all walks of life as they recover from, manage and avoid burnout by prioritising their mental health and well-being. Expect to hear fascinating conversations, plus positive and actionable tips and tricks that can help you make the simple life changes your mental health will thank you for. Episodes will be delightfully wrapped up in some epic truths and great humour. So, enjoy! You're in for a treat today as I share an everyday burnout conversation with the phenomenal Olga Thompson, who you may also know as Big Fat Greek Mother. Olga is a comedian, actor, singer, anti-bullying campaigner, mental health advocate, and mum to 3 boys, or meaty Zorbas, as she affectionately calls them. Now, you may know Olga from her incredibly uplifting, funny and heartwarming Big Fat Greek Mother Instagram feed, which I feel never fails to hit the spot for sharing the comedy, kindness and compassion we all need to see when we're scrolling social media. Now, I don't know if you saw it too, but back in August this year, I loved watching Olga's brilliant debut Edinburgh Fringe show, Greco of Hornsey. She not only gave her audience a lovely trip down 80s memory lane, but we also had the privilege of peeking behind the curtain of life growing up in an immigrant Cypriot family running a North London hair salon. And lucky for us, Olga's going to be bringing the Greco of Hornsey show to London in February 2022. Now, Olga's one of those true gifts of the world. Having read English at York University, she trained and worked as a stage actor before moving on to community theatre, performing in prisons and young offenders units across the UK. This led her to then do missionary work in the Middle East, where she taught in orphanages and schools. When you chat with Olga, you feel like you've known her for years and instantly feel that connection. And in this honest, funny yet vulnerable chat, Olga unpacks some of her experiences, sharing her journey and heart's desires with us. We get to hear some of the stories and creative processes behind her comedy and fabulous characters, as well as hearing about the difficult times when Olga battled with bullying as a child and navigated past trauma and postnatal depression as a young mum. This conversation is packed full of encouragement for those currently navigating struggles, as well as wisdom for those dealing with overwhelm, exhaustion and burnout. It's a chat that left me grinning from ear to ear, and at the end, honestly, I'm still not sure I've successfully convinced Olga that I was recording this from Canada and not in fact at Greg's in Sheffield. She's a legend. So sit back, get ready to scoop up all the kindness, the humour and the wisdom from the lovely Olga Thompson.
Okay, baby.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Olga, I can't believe I'm going to sit and chat to you today.
The feeling is mutual. Flic. Can I call you Flic?
Oh, absolutely. That's the
Is that
only
what your
name
friends
I go
call
by.
you? Flic?
The only name. It's only the bank manager who would call me Felicity. And then that's where you like go, oh, what have I done? What's happened?
Sounds like if someone wants to tell you a Felicity.
Felicity? Yeah.
Whereas
exactly.
Flic is like, yeah, I like Flic. Very
Flic,
cool.
come on. Yeah, so no,
yeah,
Flic
I love it.
Darling. Flic. Now, I have to say, your Instagram has been a huge part of keeping me going during my birthday, darling.
You're such a gorgeous person.
No, your
Thank
feeds, like you go there and you never leave without feeling uplifted, without
Thank you.
Your honesty in telling your story. Oh my God, your characters. Like I just
thank you so much.
Literally,
you're so lovely.
Your feed, if you're having a tough day, anyone listening who have a tough day, go to Big Fat Greek Mother and just swipe and scroll and play like Big Fat Greek Mother roulette. And pick up. It's like it's amazing.
It's like a little hit of joy. Oh, do you know what that makes? Someone said that to me the other day, and it just like because you don't know it when you create stuff and you put it out there. You don't always know that about yourself, but it's really encouraging and lovely. And I'm trying to be better at saying thank you rather than going, oh no, what that old thing, that piece of rubbish. I'm trying to be much better And it's part of like being kind to myself by saying thank you
I know.
and letting those things settle, because it does. Do you know what it does? Oh, I don't want to sound like a tit. Like, oh, I know, I'm amazing. But do you know what? I think it is just because I know what it feels like to be really feeling rubbish, and so I don't want anyone else to feel like that.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that is why I do it. And so when people say that it makes them feel good, I'm like, it just makes everything like literally just everything makes sense for me in life, you know, that like, that's what I'm meant to be doing, you know? So
yes, you are. And I have to say, like, all of the greatest comedians of our time, like when you look about who we brought up with, you all have this incredible gift, because there's something it's like all of you are able to step into a person's shoes, become a character, and you do it with such warmth and compassion. Like, I just love, like, Bambas and Athena.
Bambas wants to take you for a date.
Bambas,
he asked me to ask you, do you have Subways in Canada?
Yes.
Right, okay, there you go, sorted.
Yeah.
He's coming. I think you have to be warm when you do comedy, because comedy is, the reason we laugh is that we just recognise it in ourselves. And I'm like, I'm fascinated with the idiosyncrasies and those quirky foibles that we all have. And I literally laugh at myself primarily all day long. And I just think,
I love it.
You know, and as a comedian, you have to be able to laugh at yourself first.
Yes.
You know, my favourite is Robin Williams, because he says, I mean, I teeth this quote, comedians know what it's like to feel at the lowest point, and they never want anyone else to feel like that. That's why they do what they do. And I kind of like nicked that and pretended it's me, but it wasn't. It was the great Robin Williams who said it first. But it's true, you know, and all comedy comes out of great pathos. You know, the two are together.
Yeah,
you know?
You really embody that, darling, because there you are, like that post where you were like, when life gives you lemons, dance outside Poundland.
Yeah. Poundland is the best. Poundland rocks. You can't tell me, no matter how bad you feel, you can't go in Poundland and not be happy. like it's just, there's something random in there, even if it's random, like the macaroons next to the socks. There'll be something that, and you just will laugh. It will make you, and everything's a pound. I mean,
oh my God,
it's a pound. Have you got Poundland in Canada?
We have the dollar store.
The dollar store.
The dollar store. Let's all go to the dollar store.
Doesn't have the same ring as Poundland.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. Because
Poundland is like a whole continent. You know?
It's
dollar store.
It's
small. Yeah, no, you need Poundland.
Oh my God, I never thought of it that way. You're right. It's a destination. It's a
buy and sell
destination.
Yeah, babe. It's a buy and sell continent, for goodness sake. It is random in there. I'm just letting you know. You never know what you're going to get. And that's the thing. It's the element of surprise, you know. And I feel like when you are having a tough time, and when you are, like, you talk a lot about burnout, it's when people say to you, you know, life can change tomorrow and things won't stay the same. But when you are frazzled, like a frazzled piece of bacon that has been cooked and cremated and is still being cooked, you can't hear that. Yeah. But sometimes you need to just stop before you hear anything. You need to just stop and just really allow those words to sink in, that, you know, that actually life doesn't stay the same. And when you are burnt, you know, be it through life or exhaustion or circumstances or trauma or grief, you just need to know that life doesn't stay the same. It doesn't. Things always change. Things always shift. Things always move on. And it's always in the middle of that deep, dark well that those moments come and things change. And then you forget for a while, and then you might find yourself in another deep, dark well. But we're very quick to forget the dark wells that we've come out of, and we kind of think that where we are, that's it now, you know, we're going to stay here. But it's not. It never is. And I only speak that from experience, not because I'm some, you know, medium or anything, but genuinely, we all do. And if anyone listening right now, you think of a situation in your past that was really tough, it never stayed. And you maybe at the time you felt like you were going to combust, but you didn't.
Yeah.
So it's just that people just need a bit of love and encouragement. Ain't nothing wrong with that.
No. And, you must have seen this with your lovely mum and dad.
Yeah.
Like moving over, starting a new life in London.
Yeah. I mean, so my mum and dad came over and then I was born here.
Okay.
But, they had it really tough. They had nothing. They were so poor, I remember they had this little flat and the roof fell in on them. And it was just so tough coming here and starting over. But they did it, and I think for them, they just had this dignity in suffering. And I just think, it just taught me to be patient and to work hard and to be patient. I think we're very much in a society now where everything is instant, feeds, scrolling, if your Wi-Fi is down and it does, when you refresh something, you get vexed because it's like, I refreshed it. It's not, and we treat life like that. I'm refreshing it. Oh no, it's still the same. Refreshing. And it's just that frustration when things aren't refreshing immediately, but we're not machines.
No. Exactly. And you talk about like your lovely mum, she's on your feed, and you say that like you would watch her and you'd be like, the darker the day, the tougher the times, the brighter the lipstick.
Absolutely.
Like she was just, resilient.
She was, and she would just slap it on. She used to, she had the three of us. She would raise us as well. My dad was working as well, but she would raise us in the salon, take us there after school and on Saturdays. And I just saw her don't get me wrong. I mean, there were times when it was grueling, really grueling for her, and she suffered horrific menopause as well in her late 30s and had us as, teens. I mean, she just had I saw her suffer, but I saw her always make the best of herself and make whoever was sitting in that chair feel like it was about them. And so when people come to my page, I want them to feel like my mum made people feel in that chair,
Yes.
Just that feeling of sit down, darling. Do you want a cup of tea? Go on, it's all right. Like that's it's all right.
Oh.
Just that little feeling, a little flicker.
Oh, Olga. Yes. And that, like, I just loved your Edinburgh Fringe show, Greco of Hornsey. I am so grateful for the Edinburgh Fringe.
Lovely.
Like being able for us to be able to watch it. Like when would I ever be able to go and watch a show?
And that's the wonderful thing about, not the wonderful thing about COVID, but we have become, I mean, there are the purists out there who will say, I'm sorry, I'm only going to live theatre and that's it. And I'm like, well, unfortunately, my theatre folded in Edinburgh and they were unable to host us. And it was too short notice to find another theatre under COVID measures. Edinburgh was far more strict than we were. And I know that the Edinburgh Fringe happened, but in the capacity that I was going, it wasn't possible for me. So you can watch it at the comfort of your home. Oh. Thankfully, I'm touring next year with the hope that COVID doesn't bite us on the bum again.
Yeah.
But we just have to see,
Yeah. And those characters, like, because it's set in the salon and, oh my gosh, I tell you what, it's a roller coaster because I was watching it and like instantly I was transported to being back to 12, like dinner, crispy pancakes, all of that. I was just like, whoa, that's a
blast. Crispy pancake. Oh. And also, what was the other one? Aberdeen Angus Steakhouse.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, now, listen. There ain't no luxury like Aberdeen Angus Steakhouse Deluxe. And I remember us as kids, watching it on the telly, and my mum would go B-Jams. It wasn't even Iceland in those days. Probably
B-Jams, yes.
B-Jams. Used to go B-Jams and you could get,
oh my gosh.
Sorry, the North London coming out a bit. I go between posh, I was at university, to, when my mum went B-Jams, yeah. And used to buy freezers next to the frozen food. It was like, it was another level. But oh my gosh, the days of B-Jams, and now I've forgotten what I was saying.
Oh my God, we're talking about the characters and the fact that Greco of Hornsey, I literally stepped back in time, but I was able to step back into who I was.
Step back,
And-
because we were,
Oh,
but you know, most of my followers are pretty much people in my situation, kind of my age, roughly, a bit younger, and who understand that, you know, we just went to bed. We would put to bed. We went to bed. We didn't. You're like phones and snacks. How many blooming snacks? My mum would cook this meal at 6 a.m, and it was a vat of goat or whatever it was. Leave it on the table. You come in after school, whatever is there. The vat of goat. You're hungry. Eat the vat of goat. And we were like, wow, vat of goat.
Oh my God. It's
Like,
so
it was just, okay,
true.
I'm sorry. It wasn't, I hope I'm not offending anyone with the vat of goat. I'm now vegetarian because of the meat scarring I had growing up. But it was just a different life. And I'm not going to expect my kids to live by those measures.
No.
But I think there's comedy to be had in what we did and what they do now. Like 13-year-olds. When I was 13, I believed in Father Christmas, okay? 13-year-olds now are just like 21.
It's insane. Literally, last night it was 10:30. Okay, school night.
Yeah,
and
school night.
I'm
Go
knackered.
to bed.
I'm going to bed. My 14-year-old is downstairs FaceTiming some gorgeous girl playing
What?
the ukulele to her.
Ukulele?
And
That's
I
very
was
cool.
like, and part of me was like, oh, would you shush it right now? And then so I go downstairs
So
and then I see this gorgeous girl on the FaceTime and I'm like, oh, that's really lovely. Okay, I'll give it another half an hour. It's fine.
Were you in your dressing gown?
Oh God, yes. Dressing gown, like dry shampoo for days. It's not pretty. And I was just like, oh my God, how am I desperate to go to sleep? And then there's this 14-year-old serenading someone with his ukulele.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. We would never have that. I wasn't even allowed to use the house phone. I had to ask permission for the landline. And then my dad would stand there while I painfully died the digits. And the only conversation was like I could have was it was like, have you done the maths homework? Ask my friend. That was it. There was no, like literally there was no bring a boy. Just no. Literally, they've got kids to these days. They don't understand. So when I tell my kids what it was like growing up, they just look at me like, just weird.
Yeah.
I just don't know.
What are you on about?
What are you on about? Yeah, like, don't understand.
Oh, and I love how you laugh at that. Like, you know.
You have to. You have to.
It's true. What else am I going to do in the dressing gown coming down?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true.
You know, because the thing is about, you know, parents, our generation, we hate this, or we complain, the phones and the snacks but who's the one preparing the snacks and buying the snacks? Muggins is, you know, like, stop, you know. And my mum would be like, what the snack? You know, again, the snack. Make food for children. I'm like, Mum, I do food. But then there's like snack and then snack before bed and snack. I'm like, how much snack?
I know. Oh my God. It's so true, darling.
It's horrible.
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. And the long car journeys where, you know, the most my mum would have would be like a big round piece of bread. That was it. You just cut a bit of the bread. Now there's like fruit flake or whatever it's called, and this kind of bar, and no product placement on this podcast. And like this particular drink, and yeah.
I know. It's so true. It's so true. We had horrible. Like an inset day here, and I said to one of my boys, I was like, "Oh, would you like a nice little lunch? Get your little treat." And he said, "Oh, I'd love some sushi and a bottle of kombucha."
Shut up!
I was like, "Oh my God,
what the heck?"
Because you're right. When we came from B-Jams, can you remember those ice creams in little plastic containers? Did you just love those?
Oh, I'm tingling. with a little flap that you could
just like whip off like that strawberry. That was my favourite.
Oh, I'm just imagining someone just coming in at this point in the podcast, us talking about flaps, and let's just stop. Yeah, like it was incredible. My boys won't go anywhere with me. You're lucky. Like sushi and like if I say let's go to a American restaurant that begins with M, right? They say, I said, like, I literally will go anywhere with them just to hang out with them. I don't care.
Yes.
Right. And if I mention this diner in the UK, they're like, yeah, can you just go and get it for us and bring it home? I'm like, how is that bonding? Like, and then I even said, okay, let's drive there and eat it. You can eat it in the car. We'll drive and park by a park and look at the view. Why would we want to do that? Or why? Why can you not just get it and bring it?
Oh, the joys, darling, of motherhood. It's just, who'd have thought we'd end up here, my love?
I know. Just did not realise that those B-Jam days.
I know. Now, you've had a fascinating life because obviously you went to York University, didn't you? And then I couldn't believe it. You went to the Middle East to teach drama.
I did.
How amazing.
I did. I went out there to teach some drama. I went out with a Christian charity and I did some work in orphanages and I loved it. It was just like at a point in my life where I was like, I'm not really sure what I'm doing with my life. And I was like, I had just sort of compelled to go and do this. Just to do some kind of like some goodwill work. And boy, I'm glad I did because I met my hot husband out there. No, I'm only joking. I don't talk like that about him now. Oh no, he's all right. No, but I did. But it was weird because he was out there at the same point in his life, but doing sports and working with kids in the Middle East. And it was like, it was like God had looked down and gone, I shall reward thee for thy humanitarian endeavour with a betrothed. And it was just, that's what I mean. Life changes, like as we said at the start of the podcast. Life changes every single day. You don't know who you're going to meet. Life never stays the same. I honestly thought I'd just live on my own forever. Okay. Really didn't think I'd meet anyone. No, never thought I'd meet anyone. Like literally was my first boyfriend. So we met. We were engaged, married within 3 months.
Oh, I love that. I love that.
And even very mad.
The pictures of you in Wales in the summer. You're just such a gorgeous crew, darling.
Oh, we are. We do want to kill each other.
Don't we all?
We have moments that are not online where Paul actually said to me the other day, he went, if I saw you in a bar, he went, I'd think, she's all right for her age. And he went, but then if I started talking to you, I'd be like, nah, not interested. because he says, all I talk about is when are we going to get the fences fixed? When the man's coming to do the hook. Can I talk to you about Christmas? When are you going to fix that corner? But the thing is, if he did the things, or if he replied, then I wouldn't say it more and more. So he just said that.
Look at this mental load. I've got to share it. Deal with it. I have to
share it. He still doesn't do it for 3 months, but then I start again. When's the fence man? The fence man. I always start with the fence man, and then it just snowballs. So he said I'm all right to look at, but just talking now. He said, no, I'm all right, thanks. I pass.
Oh my goodness. Oh, you have to laugh.
You have to laugh. You have to laugh or you murder your husband. It's one of the two. It's better to laugh.
It's better to laugh and it's better to bribe your kids with the golden arches. Please just spend 3 minutes with me.
Yes. Spend time together.
It's true. Now, you've got three boys, haven't you?
Oh, yes. 3 boys, 3 hungry boys. But do you know what? I'm like a god in the Greek community. Like, even though no one really quite understands what a middle-aged Greek woman is doing, prating about online. Can you say prating?
Yes. We can say whatever we like, darling.
Galumphing about online, all right? The fact that I have 3 sons that have come from my husband's loins, okay, is like, I'm like a celebrity. Do you know what I mean? I'm like, cha-ching, 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 Greek brownie points, or is it Greek moussaka points? I'm telling you, I'm like celebrity here.
I bet you are, darling.
3 boys. Mads. Olga, she have 3 boys. So so people, they forget that I just faff about online because they just see the 3 boys.
Amazing. But you had a tough time when they were little, didn't you, darling?
Oh, yeah, totally.
Oh, love it. And
totally.
You shared this on your Instagram.
I know. I sometimes think, do I need to just stop sharing it? But then I think, well, you know, there are mums, young mums, amazing mums sharing their journey. But actually, sometimes as an older mum, I like to share because I'm down the line and I can say, looking back, it was tough, but I came through, you know. And yes, I made loads of mistakes. I had a breakdown when my boys were very, very small. After the birth of my third son, it was quite a traumatic, really fracturing experience for my whole family. But thankfully, we healed from it and grew closer together. My husband is amazing. My church was amazing. My friends were amazing. I mean, it was horrendous, but, you know, I came through it. But I can say to people, if you are feeling a bit like that, you know, I'm not in it now saying, I know what it's like, there'll be better days. I'm down the line saying, you will come through. I enjoy my boys. So I'm not saying you can't enjoy them when they're little, but I'm having like the honeymoon of parenting. You know, once I came out of that dark season, I just found a light and a love and a joy in everything that I did in a way that maybe if I hadn't had that massive well fall into the well, maybe it wouldn't have been as bright as it is now. And it was sobering, but it enabled me to see life in technicolor. I kind of needed to go, I don't know, I don't want to belittle. I don't want,
darling.
You know, when Dorothy is in black and white and then she goes into technicolor, it really felt like that. And I was able to really breathe and touch and be aware of the world around me and be present again. And sometimes it feels like that will never come. And it's heartbreaking for people who do feel like there is no hope and that this is it. And that trapped, stifling, suffocating feeling where there isn't a way out. But I would say there is, and it will come, and there is help. It might not be immediate, like when we refresh the browser.
Yeah.
It might not be immediate, but it will come, and there is help.
Yes.
And it doesn't stay the same forever.
And to not do it on your own.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, because I think as mums as well, like that post, and it was recent, because I found myself shouting at it because you'd said something about how, you know, your little one and it was overwhelming, and someone had gifted you a Gina Ford book. And as soon as I read that, I went, oh, because
Gina Ford.
Oh my goodness, I had such a reaction to reading that it took me back.
Yeah, because did you do the whole like blackout? I tried all these things, but my kids were just not Gina Ford babies. They just did whatever, so I got rid of that.
Yes,
but I think like if I was a mum online nowadays, and I would have really struggled. I would not cope as well as mums do today because they've got that pressure. And yes, it's wonderful. It's a resource. There's so much help out there, but sometimes I think it's too much. And if you're a person that does compare yourself like I do, I think for me, it would have been detrimental, really. I just wouldn't have. Yeah.
This is why it's so important that you share your story and we're more honest. It's there's a real strength in sharing because it feels hard at first, doesn't it? You're like, this is a little bit raw, a little bit vulnerable.
Yeah.
But you must have had a huge wave of people reaching out to you.
Always. Every time I do a post, I still get people messaging me, you know, saying, can you put it up in your stories? Where's that post? Where's that thing to the link? Someone told me that you shared that. And so, you know, there are more able, more eloquent people out there doing better jobs at helping others. But I know that not in hindsight, down the line, I can encourage people from where I am. And it's a different echo, you know, it's a different sounding hope, I suppose, you know, and you need help and you can't do it alone. Yeah. And it is about saying, I need some help, but acknowledging that within yourself as well, which is the first step.
Your voice is always so positive, Olga. Like what you're writing. In fact, I've written something down because when I read it, I became quite tearful, darling. Like you wrote something. You said you might not end up where you thought, but you will end up where you belong. Never give up on your dreams. Be brave. Be patient, for they will find you again. Look at the hairs on my...
That's so lovely. Did I really say that?
Darling, you did. You're a genius.
No, I'm not. You know what? Honestly, I hope I never, ever come across as I know everything, because I don't.
No, you
because
never will. You're so
Because
real.
I still need to remind myself. And even the other week I had a dip. I had a real dip, a low kind of like, oh, what's the point? What am I doing? And you know, and I realised, Flic, that I was actually exhausted.
Yeah.
So I took some time out for myself, because sometimes, this is the other thing, sometimes you just need a rest, you know, because your hormones and your emotions can go. And I'm one of those people, I'm an empath. I have to be really careful that I don't make snap decisions based off of my hormones and my feelings, which I have in the past. I need to kind of go, well, let me just rest a bit and come back to that, you know. And I know that you talk about this a lot. Yeah. Just stop for a bit. It's okay.
Just a little bit. That's all you need.
But and even if you want to worry, that's fine. You know, I went through a time when I had therapy and I had CBT, and I remember, you know, something that helped me at the time was, you need to worry. Brilliant. Fantastic. 7 o'clock every night, put some time aside, 7 till 8, you go and have a good worry, love. Go on, you go for it. I remember setting my alarm every night, and I just forgot, or I just, you know, so have a break. Yeah. If you need to worry, if there's something that's troubling you, that's fine. It's going to be there tomorrow. But if you rest, just give yourself one day to rest and go back to it tomorrow. But when you go back to it tomorrow, it doesn't seem as big, you know. And there's this other thing as well about, I was talking to my son yesterday. He was getting quite anxious about some work he had to do. And I said, let's just have a hot chocolate and a biscuit and just take a minute. And then I said, and actually, once we start, it will never seem as big as what you thought. Yes. But we're all guilty of that, aren't we? Thinking things are bigger than what they are, when they never are, really.
Yeah. Anne Lamott writes beautifully about that in her book, Bird by Bird. That really helped me. Yes. Bird by Bird. And she basically tells the story. Her father was a writer, and her brother was having a hard time with a homework project, and it was about birds. And literally he was kind of becoming very, very anxious. And the dad said, how you're going to tackle this is you're going to sit down and you're going to do it bird by bird. And it's that whole idea. It's so simple. Like, let's just break it down. As you say, let's have a hot chocolate and a biscuit. We'll do this bit. Yeah. Have another break. Do this bit.
Or make a list. Yeah.
Yes.
Whatever you need to do to make you feel safe, do that. And that's, you know, and you know, we're so multi-layered as individuals, and mental health isn't just one little ball. Mental health, it's layered, it's above you, it's beneath you, it's in your past, it's in your present, and there are so many layers to it. And you know, you just need to let yourself breathe and let all those pieces come together, and just be kind. Just that's the other thing, just being kind to yourself. It's taken me so long to learn how to do that.
Oh my gosh, me too. Because I think certainly with burnout, it doesn't just happen overnight. It gradually grinds you down.
Yeah.
Your situation, like, you tragically lost your dad in your first with your first pregnancy.
Yeah. It was,
oh my gosh,
well, for me it was also past trauma that I had, undealt past trauma, which had buried itself. And actually it's quite common for women in childbirth that childbirth is a trigger for a lot of women. This is another thing we don't often talk about.
We don't.
But there are some, but that was a trigger. And so as human beings, we are layered. I'm not saying every single human being has trauma in their life, but sometimes there are things that are sort of buried without you knowing it. And sometimes you just need to be still and allow yourself to kind of come to your senses, or to come home, or just to be. We're just always pushing ourselves, aren't we? Well, I know that I am. I'm guilty of that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And it's a fear as well, that if you stop pushing, that something bad will happen. That if you stop grinding, if you stop going on the hamster wheel, but it doesn't. But it's just being brave enough to sit with that fear and kind of work out, wow, we're getting deep here.
We are. But it's fascinating. And I think people listening to this, because this is the conversation I needed a year and a half ago, darling, because
Oh
you know you
gosh,
just
yeah.
feel so alone when you're, you know, and whether you're dealing with postnatal depression, whether you're dealing with
Yeah.
whether it's burnout, you know, it's just you feel so alone and isolated.
Of course.
And I can remember I was chatting to Deb Edwards, she's a brilliant coach, and she told me, like, the fact that you just keep trying and keep going and you're moving and you're fast and you're all over the place,
Yeah.
that's a safety mechanism.
Of course it is.
We've been using that for years and years and years as a safety mechanism. And so no wonder it's hard for us to stop and
Absolutely.
almost sit with just that pain and what we're doing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's
absolutely.
hard.
The hardest thing for me when I had the breakdown was sitting in it.
Yeah.
Because I just kept wanting to move away. But the more I moved away, the more damage I did to myself. A bit like when you know, say, you know, you've got a wound or you've got something that's gone through your hand, and you know that the more you move around with it, the more damage that kind of that severing is going to do. You're going to do more damage, but actually by being still, that kind of foreign body or whatever it was can just kind of fall out. And it was like that. And it was I felt actual physical pain in that time, and that there was so much mental anguish. It was actual physical pain. And, you know, I'm not going to sit here and lie to you. I'm a Barbie doll. You know, there are moments that, you know, the echoes of that will sometimes come back. And I have to remind myself, you know, that I'm okay, that I'm safe, that it's okay to wobble, you know, and I'll wrap myself up with a blanket. I love one of your questions was, when you are struggling, do you grab a gin or do you drag? Do you grab a cup of tea? And for me, it is a cup of tea, blanket, might buy myself some flowers, light a candle, you know, or, you know, it doesn't have to be anything expensive. It could be just literally a blanket and a cup of tea. And just the very act of wrapping yourself in the blanket and giving yourself a little bit of love. Maybe you can't manage that. Maybe you can only manage it for 2 minutes. But that is a little bit of self-love, which does permeate, you know, and will make a difference. But yeah,
it's 2 minutes of self-love that is not only going to calm your nervous system down, but it's reinforcing that aspect of you're telling yourself that you matter.
Yes.
Which I think sometimes when we're in that dark well, you don't even think you matter. Like, it's a scary place to be, isn't it?
It's telling yourself you matter, and it's grounding.
Yes.
It's grounding. That feeling when you're going to slip, you just keep sort of clamoring and trying to grab onto something. And that's, I suppose that is, that, like you say, that is burnout. And when you eventually realize that you can't, there's nothing to grab onto, you know, and you have to just be still until, you know, you become well. And we don't address burnout, because burnout is sometimes, you know, it's kind of not as sexy as its cousin mental health, you know, in that, you know, there's a lot of talk about mental health, but burnout is something that's like, well, yeah, burnout, you know, just book a spa or, you know, have an hour in bed, or, you know, and it's just, you know, burnout is massive and it is linked to mental health. You know, I've seen people without mental health problems have burnout.
Yeah.
I've seen people who've never burnt out have mental health. There isn't, you know, mental health isn't just, like I said, it's not a static glob. Yeah. It's multi-layered, it's multifaceted. Within that is burnout, you know, you know, it's not scientific, you know, it's very complex, but we need to give it, we need to understand it, because I think so many people are walking around totally burnt out.
Completely, because of the pandemic. Yeah.
Yeah. And you know, people that are suffering in relationships or at work or poor sleep, you know, I'm not saying that everybody that is struggling in this way is burnt out, but, you know, really look at yourself and see, are you running on empty? It's really easy to do that. I know that for myself.
Yeah.
I have to catch myself, you know. Yeah.
And they've been doing it for a while, I think, as well. Like I you know, because I think we associate burnout with like top CEOs and, you know, kind of buy, sell, trade, and just that very kind of hedonistic, stressful.
Yeah.
But I don't know about you, Diane, but I would, you know, in the pandemic, I think, oh my gosh, the teachers that are going online and teaching and then trying to help their own kids.
So many teachers are leaving the profession because they are burnt out. And they are exhausted. And even now you have the repercussions of children in schools still getting used to what the new normal is. You know, people are burnt out. And I think it's just giving yourself the space to figure out just where you are and what you need without rushing on. Just because everybody, you know, just because you see somebody else rushing along, you don't have to necessarily do what they're doing. Because you don't know what's happening behind the scenes. You don't know what's going on in their private life. You know, if they are rushing around, you don't know what they're sacrificing in order to make that sprint. Yeah. So,
it's that self-compassion piece, because there's no way I'd let my boys, you know, do some of the things that I did, like get to that point of exhaustion. It's no way. But I just completely neglected my own needs and carried on. And it's when that physical like reaction, it's your body just forcing you to stop.
Absolutely. Your body just goes, I'm not. For some people, it's a physical manifestation, like, you know, a pain it could be, or for other people, for me, it was, you know, very, very intense thoughts and intrusive thoughts, you know, but these are all valid experiences that you are having. And it might not even be, you know, burnout is also, there are degrees of burnout as well. And it's so, you might think, well, I'm only a bit burnt out. I'll be all right when I get to this Christmas, or when I get to Easter, I'll have, when I get to, you know, you can catch it early. You know, you don't have to wait till you're completely burnt to a crisp, you know. Yeah.
Do you regularly kind of, when you're feeling, you know how you kind of overread, and then you get to that point and then you're like, do you kind of go, okay, I'm going to clear my plate for a couple of days, chill, and then come back?
Well, because of usually what I do is I will have a day. It will be off social media. I'll still put something up on my stories or whatever, keep it ticking over. But I'll take, for me, I don't really need more than a day or a couple of days. But then what I'll do is I'll literally turn it all off, clear my diary, and then go and paint a wall in the house with a podcast, with a sermon, with some, you know, gospel music or something. And it will just, and I'll have no makeup. I'll make myself a nice pot of coffee and I will just paint a wall. And my husband comes home and he goes, oh, right, okay. He's like, is there something else you could do to relax? I'm like, oh my gosh, leave me alone. But I literally love painting a wall. I'm not an artist, but like, so one of the walls in the house doesn't go with anything else, but it's green now. But I just love, or the other thing I did the other week was I redid my closet, you know, and it's just something, like, I'm not very good at just going, I'm just going to lie back and watch a Christmas film. Or for me, it's doing something like that, but listening to something that feeds me. And I just feel better, you know, or a walk, just something like that, which is looking after myself or expressing myself in a different way, which isn't digital.
Yes.
That's what I do. I just come away and go quiet.
Yeah, that movement, it kind of just forces you to use the other side of your brain.
Absolutely.
Just like, you're able to escape.
Or decluttering, I find, is so healthy. Like, I love, like, just getting a drawer and just decluttering that and putting a podcast on. I'm just so... I'm so happy. It's so sad. I'm just so happy. I think it's because, you know, what else are you going to do? You know, I don't want to necessarily go shopping. I love shopping. But if I go shopping, that's retail therapy. It's not active. Shopping isn't active for me. If you see what I mean, I'm just going in and buying something to put on. Whereas if I'm doing something with my hands, because I find that when I am anxious or anything physical, anything where, like you say, engaging muscle groups that I don't normally engage. Another one might be doing some yoga. I find that it, like you say, it taps into a part of the body that is underused, which then recharges the whole circuit.
Yes. So, yeah. It's it's escaping to yourself, and it's I forgot what I was going to say there, darling. I lost the train.
Yeah, just doing something.
Doing something. Yeah. And you know what? When I go for a walk, I always have my phone with me, because I'll often be processing something and I'll go, and I have to do a voice note. Because I'm like, I figured it out now. I get it. That's why I do that. Okay. But it's only painting that wall, going for a walk, that almost unlocks that part of you. That maybe shopping or whatever else.
Or even like, we don't daydream anymore. We stopped daydreaming, you know, and I find that sometimes for me, when I'm asleep and it's that dozing time, that's when the best sketches come.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah, it's the best sketches come when I'm doing something, never when I'm online or working in front of the computer, never. But when I'm doing something else that's totally random, or I'm out, that was the door. Nothing there, just something through the letterbox. Oh, not very exciting. This is a real life podcast.
It really is. The postman.
It really is. We really are live. When I'm doing something unrelated, then I'll just get this burst of, just like something, you know. Or in the car, it's always when my husband has Magic FM on in the car. Oh, really? Those songs just trigger sketches in me like you wouldn't believe. You know. So just, I don't know. It's just making a bit of space, isn't it? It's all it is, really.
It is. Exactly. So where do your characters come from? I'm presuming they were from the El Greco hair salon.
Oh, yeah. All from the salon, all of them. The Greek girls will come in to have their hair done and look beautiful. And then you have the boys that come in and we have their eyebrow plucked. You've got the creepy men who have a coffee and they sit the watch. You know, they all are. I mean, some of the newer characters like the school mums, and they're more of my own experiences of, you know. And I only diss the PTA because I was on the PTA. I'll have you know. So creative license there. But it's just literally everyday things. You know, like I might be on the bus and someone's talking about, I had a dodgy sprout, and they're talking, you know, like, just I love listening to people, the things that people say. Yes. Oh my gosh, it was brilliant. The other day there was someone standing at the door going, "Oi!" to a neighbour, "I'm going to Greg's. Do you want anything?" "Yeah, give me a sausage roll." "What about if there's steak bakes?" All right, give me one of each. All right, I'll be back. You know, and I was like, this is exquisite. I mean, I love Greg's. Oh my gosh, product placement again. But, but I was like, I was dining out on that, literally, or things my mum says all the time. Just, I bank those. What did she say? She said, we were going to my brother's wedding, and she said, "Don't worry, we come back with pubba." I was like, "What?" "We come back and get the pubba." She was saying an Uber, and I had to write that in my Things My Mum Says book. You know, I just literally love, oh my gosh, there are things, she just makes up random words for things. And I'm like, what the heck?
Oh my God.
What does she say? What does she say? Like all the time, random, funny. Oh, that's it. She goes, "I have the plates. Shall I put it in your fertility room?" She meant utility room. I was like, said to my husband, "Shall we go in the fertility room?" I'm worried to load the dishwasher in case I get pregnant.
Oh my God, Olga, it's just fantastic.
Honestly, you don't know. You go to load the plates, conception. I mean, you know, weird things can happen.
And like, where did you get the idea for a jeweler's sexy toilet workout?
Sexy toilet? It's very, very easy because it's sexy toilet. You sit down, think about it, yeah? We ain't got no time to be doing squats. But if you're going to go to the toilet to take a dump, you got to squat anyway. So while you squat down for the toilet, you just clench your buttocks, you do sexy toilet. You get up. Every time you do number 2, do sexy toilet. That's a workout, babe. Think about it.
And the workout of picking up the Doritos bag.
Yeah, but the thing is, she's actually a genius because you work out but it's part of your lifestyle.
Oh my God.
You don't realise she might go, I might send the dragons then.
Hey,
I'm
that
not
would
being
be
funny.
amazing. That would be
Seriously.
amazing. Because
Honestly.
she's just fantastic. Like,
I'm actually writing that down as an idea.
well,
while I
write
talk
it
to you.
down.
I'm
Write
like,
it
"Dragon's
down.
done."
Oh my God, she would be fantastic on there, darling. She's brilliant. I just love her. And I love Boss and Auntie Fanula. Oh my God.
Yeah, she hasn't been out. She hasn't been out in a while. She's had some problems with her hip, but she'll be out soon. She's had some problem with it, and also her husband. I don't know if you know, but he was cheating on her, so that's been quite tough. But she's coming back. She's having a revamp, Fanula 2.0. She's got a new blouse. She's got a brand new double FF bra. She's ready. She's fierce.
Oh my God.
She's back on the dating scene. Look out, people in the residential homes. Tinder. Yeah.
Oh, you see, this is it with all of your characters. You just adore them. Like, you just become besotted with them. It's it won't be long. You're going to be on the telly soon, aren't you, darling? It's coming. You're going to be on
before I'm 107. I'd like to have a TV show.
Oh, you will. It's happening.
Before I'm 107. Yes, one day. I hope so.
It's happening for sure. It really is. It's just beautiful.
I think COVID has set a lot of people back in the kind of pursuit of things. So I think we're just kind of like, this is kind of getting back to normal year, and then hopefully maybe next year, which is nearly here. And Christmas, oh my gosh.
And next year, you are bringing El Greco of Hornsey to London.
And I will make it available online, I think, for people that, you know, live overseas and have said they'd like to watch it, because the live show is another level to the film stage version, because it's more interactive. I have real life victims from the audience who have their hair washed by Andrula. You know, so yeah, it's kind of, it's as good, but it's different. It's a bit spicy.
Oh, it's going to be amazing. And I love the fact you're going to be able to order a kebab for the interval.
Well, yeah. I mean,
that is brilliant.
Who wants to? Yeah, you just order it. Also, vegetarian, vegan. You come, you order the kebab, eat dinner, and then we do Greek dancing after. I mean, you know.
To me, it sounds like a whole week's holiday in an evening.
It's a holiday in an evening. Honestly, what more do you want? Greek dancing, honestly.
Oh, fantastic.
Oh, thank you so much.
All this amazing comedy, but I do want to touch on the incredible work you do with Kidscape, and then your lovely niece as well, Grace to Restore.
Yes, of course.
Yeah. So if you want to talk about those, because, you know, it's fabulous. So
I'm an ambassador for Kidscape charity. It's an anti-bullying charity. I'm an ambassador because I have an affinity with them, because I was bullied as a child, daughter of immigrants. I didn't speak any English. I did go through horrific bullying growing up. And I loved sharing my story. I loved doing little skits for them and getting the word out wherever I can. And they do incredible work in schools, incredible support for parents. If your child is going through bullying, or if your child is doing the bullying, you know, it's an amazing, amazing, fantastic, warm, lovely charity. And also I support my sister-in-law's charity, Grace to Restore, which was named in honour of my niece who took her own life about 3 years ago due to, again, bullying. So those are two charities that are just, you know, I can never not do enough for them. Amazing charities for you to go and give them some love.
Oh, absolutely. It's just incredible. They really are. Yeah. I can remember reading your post about your lovely niece, Grace. And
I know.
Oh my gosh. So sad, so tragic.
So sad. But there are still young people out there on the cusp, you know, that we can help them. And, you know, and even from 3 years ago, there's so much more conversation around young people and mental health, more than there ever was.
Yeah.
So things are changing, times are changing, you know, we just need to keep the conversation going.
Yes.
So,
and I think that's what's so important about the work you do and what I'm trying to do. Like, the more honest our conversations are, the more the ripple effect is huge, because then younger generations are seeing this. It
completely.
just opens up the floodgates,
Completely.
and normalizes it.
Normalizing it, not waiting for an event, just talking about it normally.
Yes.
You know, I don't want other people to feel like that. But if you do feel like that, it's okay. And there's help and there's a way out. Whether you're a child, whether you're a teenager like my niece was, whether you're a grown-ass man, woman like me and you, you know, sometimes you just need to know that it's okay. Someone needs to give you a hug and say it's going to get better and that you're okay. You know, we're all still big kids anyway.
We are. We never grow up from the playground. I really do believe that.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I think, you know, on that note, like, as you say, you put it perfectly, we should never wait for anything major to happen. I can remember being with my doctor and I had heart attack symptoms. And I can remember saying to her, like, oh, yeah, I'm a little bit bad, but I'm not that bad. Like, it was that comedy act. And she was like,
absolutely.
No, you are. Stop right now.
Absolutely. I remember going to my doctor and then him saying, you're not, you know, he could see, because I was trying to be like, well, I've been a little bit down and I've just been, you know, and he could just straight away see, he's like, let's get you better. Let's get you better. And it was just, and then somebody just opened the window and I was able to just, okay, I'm not well.
Yeah.
I'm going to get well. And it was just such a light bulb moment. So, you know, there are so many ways in which you can get better. Yeah. And there is so much help out there, but it's just being brave enough when you're ready to just put your hand out.
Yeah.
And ask for it.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Oh, darling, you're doing incredible things. And
so are you. What you're doing.
Oh, bless you. Well, we're just doing our thing, aren't we? And I think that's why when I read that part about you'll end up where you belong, I think because, you know, I live in Canada now and, you know,
which I don't believe.
Look, there's some maple leaf trees out there. But it's it really is that kind of keep going, keep being you, keep going. It's all good, you know.
You know what? Because you don't see the fruit straight away, you're going to stop being yourself.
Yes.
And it's that instantaneous kind of, you know. And then you look, and it's so easy to compare yourself because wherever you go, there's a post somewhere on some app.
Yes.
But it's just I think it comes from just knowing yourself.
Yeah.
And being kind to yourself and just being true to who you are, because the world wants to see you. We've seen everyone else. What about you?
Oh, absolutely. And I love that podcast chat you did with Helen Perry on social media. And all that.
Lovely
Helen. It was so bloody good, darling. It was fabulous. And so I'd urge everyone, go and listen to that. Go listen to more of Olga's
Helen's
wisdom.
lovely. Oh,
it was
thank
fantastic.
You. And I will share this. This is so important. I'm doing it now while I'm chatting to you. You're now sharing it. I took a cheeky picture of you looking sideways. You were looking very cerebral at one point. I took a cheeky picture of you.
Oh, this has been amazing. And I know everyone listening, they're going to be laughing. They're going to be like, oh, having a moving moment. Like, you're just amazing. You really are.
You are too.
Thank you.
You are too, Mrs.
It's been so fun talking to you today.
Thank
Olga.
you.
It really
I've loved it.
And I've been asking all of my guests at the end, if you're up for it, some quick fire, light-hearted questions, darling.
Let's go,
ready?
Baby.
Okay.
I am ready. Yeah.
Lemon in water or lemon in gin? What do you do on your dodgy, tough days?
Oh, lemon in water.
Yeah, hydrate.
Yeah.
No, we're sensible now. We're sensible.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Move your body, move the remote.
Move my body.
Ooh.
Move my body higher. Higher. Move my body.
Okay, bag of almonds or bag of Maltesers?
Bag of almonds, because I don't like chocolate. I know. I'm one of those weird people.
Good.
Yeah, only dark chocolate. I don't like milk chocolate. It makes me. I know.
That's amazing. Okay, don't worry. Ask for help or happy to hermit?
Do you know what? Happy to hermit, but sometimes ask for help, but happy to hermit.
Yeah.
Now.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. Okay, so what's the one self-care thing you're going to do today, darling, that your future self will thank you for?
I am going to switch off later and spend time with my boys because it's fireworks night and I've created a fireworks feast. I've got goodies out. We've got candy floss. We got them popping candy things you put in your mouth, which I don't eat, but they love it. We've got donuts. We've got the popcorn. Yeah, and I'm just going to spend time with the boys and we're going to do fireworks in the garden. And it's only little, but I think for me, it's being with them, but also being present and turning everything else off.
Yeah. Another memory, darling.
Yeah, hashtag memory.
This has been amazing. Thank you so much.
I have loved it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for spending time with me. I'm the one that's saying thank you. And I will share the vajazzle out of it. Hang on, I don't really know what I'm trying to say. I'm sorry. I think I'm still an Andruna.
You know what?
Split personality.
Oh, this has been fantastic. I'm going to take a little picture of us.
Yeah, I've already done that. I've done that. I don't know if you'll like my picture. I hope you like it.
Oh, darling, thank you so much for all this fun and joy. Lots of love.
Love you. Thank you for asking me.
Thank you, darling. Send it all to you.
Have a lovely time in Sheffield. Liar.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Everyday Burnout Conversations. Please check the show notes for any links to items discussed today, and the original music and sound editing is by Chris Taylor. If you've enjoyed this podcast and have a spare few minutes, then it would be absolutely amazing if you could leave me a happy starry rating and review. It really does help this podcast reach a little further, and I just love it to land in the lap of those who, like me, last year are perhaps feeling isolated and lonely in their burnout struggle. Please note, this podcast is not intended as medical advice. Remember, you matter, so don't hesitate to reach out to your doctor or mental health professional for support if you're having a rough time. Wishing you a great week and take good care of yourself. Bye for now.